Okay, Battlefield 3. I believe this is what most of you are here for today, and this is going to be the bulk of this document. So bear with me. I know it's long. I know it's going to get boring at times. I've added some fun activities and some fun questions and quizzes throughout it, but basically we're just going to have to suck it up and get through this because this is very important. And I think, and this is my personal feelings, if we're willing to give you admin on our servers, then you need to know how to use it, and I don't think that asking for a little bit of your time to learn how to do that is too much. So basically, tonight we're going to talk about general information about being an admin. So what type of admins are there? What's expected of you as an admin? And we'll talk about some admin tools that we use because we have a myriad of different things that we use. We'll talk about admin responsibilities and what your biggest duty is. Hint, that's to maintain game integrity. We'll also talk about how to make ban reports, how to do appeals, how to add people to the watch list. Then we'll go into the procedure for what makes a ban, how you make a ban, and what warrants a ban. So we'll talk about the different types of bans. We'll also talk about the in-game admin abilities. So this is really going to be where we tell you what command to type into chat, what it does, what the syntax is for that. And finally, we'll finish out with a word on Procon and how to use Procon for you Procon admins. This is a very long presentation. I'm going to try and whip through it as best as possible. If you have questions, just go ahead and interrupt me and I'll answer your question right then. Okay? Okay, so types of admins. Basically in Battlefield we have, basically in the clan we have different types of admins. So in Battlefield we've got the in-game admin, we've also got a Procon admin, we've got Mumble admins, Forum admins, Senior admins, Minecraft admins. We got admins out the ass here. So they all fit together and they have different responsibilities for each one, but basically all of them have to maintain a baseline of knowledge in order to do their jobs. We also use a bunch of different tools to help us in our admin endeavor. Tools like Tiger VNC, Procon, and we're actually running a virtual machine of Windows XP through QEMU on a Linux machine, and that's how we're doing Procon. So, admin expectations, this pretty much goes for everybody, but especially you Battlefield players and you Battlefield admins. You guys are the public face of 0xFE. Okay, when people come into the server, they're going to judge our entire clan based on how you interact with them or with their clanmates. So, the community, as is said in the slideshow, the community is literally filled with potential future recruits. We're doing very good on recruiting. We're recruiting about 1 to 2 people a week, and I attribute this because we're most all adults in here and we're able to handle this conversations and our admin jobs very well. So things to remember as an admin expectation of you, you always want to remain civil when dealing with the players. So there's a bullet point in here. It says act more mature than you are. And I think that's very true. I like to go in the Battlefield servers and I like to troll people and I like to say, oh, you guys are noobs and everything. But when we're dealing with a player that we're actually thinking about kicking or banning or something needs to happen, I need to up my maturity level a little bit and be a little bit more professional. It's kind of like you would treat a job, so to speak. You can always remind players that the rules can be accessed by the !rules command. It's in our server description. It's all over our website. They should know that. If they don't agree with the rules, gently encourage them to find a different server to play in. There's thousands of them out there, and they'd be much more happy in a different server if they don't want to follow our rules. And above all, patience is key. You often will be faced with angry players. You'll be faced with players that don't speak English. You need to be able to take that all in stride with a grain of salt and deal with the public in a fitting manner. So, as an admin, you are going to draw the line of what's acceptable in the server. So how much are you willing to put up before you issue a kick? How much are you willing to put up before you issue a ban? That's going to be a personal choice, but this whole presentation is going to try to give you a baseline of when you should make that choice. You got to keep in mind a lot of people that come in the server are, if they're having a bad game and they're cussing up a storm, they could just be having a bad day. And I don't just mean in Battlefield and they're doing badly in game. You know, they might be going through a divorce, they could be going through something serious in life, and this is their way of blowing off steam. So, keep in mind and keep an open mind with that sort of thing. If the other players are complaining about someone being disruptive in chat, you can definitely take action, because the one thing we don't want to have happen is have our server depopulated because of a couple of bad eggs. If necessary, the chat is complaining that they're going to leave. If you don't take care of someone, you need to consider actually taking care of that before it spreads to the rest of the server and they all leave. Another thing you want to keep in mind as an admin, please treat us with respect between each other. Treat your clan members with respect. There's going to be differing opinions. There's bound to be friction. At the end of the day, we're still, even though a highly dysfunctional family, we're still a family. And the admin actions toward fellow clan members are always held to a higher standard. As another thing to remember as an admin, don't ever abuse or flaunt your power, and this is really going to make the difference between a good admin and a bad admin. You want to reserve the in-game commands for when you actually need to use them. Okay, don't just go in there and start kicking people or start yelling for no reason just to show that you're a cool admin and you were trusted with the server and all that stuff. So, along those lines, you don't ever want to slay a public player unless they're violating the server rules, even if you feel like they deserve it. So, I know we have a player called Joe420X that makes accusations all the time in the server. He can get kind of annoying. Don't slay him just because he's annoying. If you're going to slay him, he needs to have a legit reason to slay him, i.e. he's in the tank and he's not getting out of it. You can always use the @yell command to convey the rules or get attention, but I recommend that you also type it into the chat by using the all chat command. And the reason for that is because oftentimes if a player is dead or in the spawn screen, they don't get to see the yell messages, and so it's nice to have a log up in the top left corner in the all chat that they can read as well. So don't ever threaten unless you mean to carry through. So don't tell someone you're going to slay them if they don't get out of the tank. Just kindly warn them that tank's not allowed and then go ahead and slay them. Don't ever say something to a pub and then you don't have the intention of following through. And another big important thing that we're going to mention many times during this presentation, but I want you guys to get it right now, you do not type the admin commands in the all chat. The reason for this being, when people start seeing admins come in and typing admin commands in chat, they make it out to where, it's bigger, they make a mountain out of a molehill, so to speak. And what happens is, if they get killed by death, like some rubble falls on them and they see the death screen, they're going to blame you first and foremost for being a badman and kicking them or killing them or whatever. You really just don't want to do that. So when you're issuing admin commands, do it in squad chat. Your job as an admin is to ensure the integrity of the game. We want the server to provide a great experience for all of the clan members and the public players. So you're going to need to ban disruptive players. You're going to need to look up people on cheatometers for suspected cheaters, stuff like that. You want to monitor the game as an in-game admin or a Procon admin while you're playing, so that everything appears to be fair. Keep an eye on the server chat for people making accusations or for people having suspicious behavior, and you need to investigate players that are suspicious, and you'll have to eventually make a judgment call on whether further action is needed. So I mentioned that we have several different types of admins. With respect to Battlefield 3, we have an admin hierarchy, and that comes into play on who should actually execute the final procedure on when to ban or when to kick or when to slay someone. So the order is, the senior admin should always be their job. If there's no senior admin on, then it's a Procon admin. If there's no Procon admin, then it's an in-game admin. If you have all three admins and mumble at once, just kindly ask down the line, hey, do you want to take care of this or do you want me to take care of it? Because a lot of times I'm going to be stepped away from my computer. I may not have the time to enforce a ban or anything like that. And so you definitely can take it upon yourself to step up and take over. Just don't do it without asking. Are there any questions on this?
Not yet.
Okay, so let's get into the bans and the types, procedure, what they're used for. So I just want to give you some general background systems info on how the ban actually occurs on the back end. What happens is we use a myriad of tools and scripts to enforce the bans and the integrity of our server. We do a couple of different things like streaming to third-party ban lists like Anti-Cheat Inc. We also stream to ggcstream.net. We have our own private punkbuster scripts that are in conjunction with these third-party ban lists. And we also use Procon for custom scripts that take screenshots of every player in the server over at 2.0 KDR. We'll talk about that later. The human element, what it comes down to, is incredibly important and cannot be replaced by any of the above things that I just mentioned. You guys are going to have to make judgment calls, and I want you to be trained, and I want to be confident that when you make the decision to ban or kick someone, I can come in and I can say, yes, you made the right decision. And a lot of you guys have already been admins so far, but for the new people who are up and coming who are going to be admins, it's important that you follow the procedure and you make good decisions, because it really, despite all the technology at our fingertips, it's going to ultimately come down to one person making a judgment call. So what warrants a ban? And before we talk about what warrants a ban, let's talk about types of bans. So according to the charter, we have three different distinctions of bans. We have a suspicious gameplay ban, an outright hacking ban, and an administrative ban. And they're all different and they're all used for different purposes. Okay, you can go read our charter for more